right, go ahead. Oh, you can start whenever you want. I can edit.
Oh, you can edit anything out. Okay. All right. Welcome to Red River Rivalry, the podcast. I am sooner born, sooner bred. When I die, I will be sooner dead. I am your Oklahoma co-host, Sean Swanda. To my left here, we have University of Texas at Austin graduate, Cristian Perez.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Sean, that was really gross and disgusting. Please don't do that again in my house.
Hey, I'm sorry, man. I actually considered doing this for a career once, so I'm not completely...
No. The radio voice is great. I think you have a great radio voice. It was the whatever sooner crap you said.
Oh, come on. I have to know your fight song because it drives me nuts because I've been working on the railroad. But
yeah, everyone has to know everything about Longhorn history. Everybody in the Big 12 has to know it because you have to know exactly what you're hating on. And you guys are so obsessed with hating us that you just happen to know everything we're about.
Well, you're making me pull us out of the back early, but the whole conference has reason to hate you. You pissed Nebraska off into leaving. You pissed Colorado off into leaving. You pissed Missouri off to leaving. You even pissed your Stillwater off into leaving in Texas A&M, but we're getting a little too intense too fast here.
Okay, look, we wanted our Longhorn network, and we got it. It's working great for us. Have you ever sat down and watched Longhorn Network? That's where all of this stemmed from.
No.
It's an amazing channel. They play the 2006 Rose Bowl every day, at least once a day. It's amazing.
Oh man!
But really, yeah, you have a great radio voice.
All right. Well, thanks, partner. Yeah, let's pull ourselves back here a little bit and get back to where I was going to go at first and try to start ourselves off with reminding ourselves that we're here to be good citizens and having good civics, but hey, it's the Red River Rivalry. You're going to end up in a shouting match at the beginning regardless, I guess.
Yeah. So forgive us for our audio. We're just starting out right now, and we're going to buy some audio equipment once we get a little bit more used to filming or recording this podcast. This is a really great opportunity for both of us to be able to sit here and talk smack with one of our biggest rivals.
Yeah, it feels very awesome, and we were just starting. So our first thing on the docket today actually has to do with Longhorn history, because got an anecdote, especially with all the stupid horns down discussion coming back up. Well, this was already planned, but anyways, my anecdote is about knowing your enemy here, and Cristian, do you happen to know the origin of horns up?
Yeah, one of the cheerleaders made it up.
Okay, but when?
In the 60s.
Actually, as fate would have it, it was a little bit before that.
Okay.
On a very famous fictitious Saturday. Do you know which one it is?
I don't remember.
Come on.
Yeah, they have us watch a video every year, or like freshmen have to go through like certain trainings, and one of the things is you have to watch this video that teaches you all the different traditions, and it's been a while, Sean.
Okay.
It's been about 10 years since I watched that video.
Okay. Well, oh god, I'm trying to remember the line now. I remember, Doc. You told me about what happened. You hit your head on the toilet, and that's how you came up with the flux capacitor, what makes time travel possible. Yes, it was that Saturday from the Back to the Future franchise. Saturday, November 12th, 1955. And you want to know what? You lost to TCU.
Hey, we lose a lot of games. You guys have lost a lot of games.
That's true.
One of the biggest numbers that matters is the fact that we have a running record versus you guys. So.
Oh God, we're gonna get into that already. 7 of those wins were from before we were even a state.
Hey, you know what? That's okay. That means that we won it when it really mattered.
Oh yes, when the game was played by gorillas with a rock. Yes.
We're still a country. Sean.
Yeah.
Still country.
I'm just saying, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, somebody's going to win 2-0 on a safety. That's
All right,
that's very primitive football.
So what's your point here?
Well, I wasn't planning on getting into the actual statistics of the rivalry just yet, but okay.
Well, before we get onto the statistics of the rivalry, because everybody knows the numbers, what do you think about this horns down nonsense?
To me, it seems overly sensitive, and I'm sick of talking about it, but for our purposes, we need to. The one thing I will grant you is if one of our guys has just tackled one of your guys, and he's standing over your guy and does it, that's different. That's actual taunting.
That's actual
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. But just doing horns down for horns down's sake should not be a penalty.
I mean, you're going to have a lot of people doing it. If it's going to start fights, then yeah. You can make the same like argument for if you put thumbs down, if you put pony down, if you do what is that the boomer sooner, the one what you do with your finger down.
I don't know. People haven't perfected it enough to piss me off. I guess.
I usually give one hand signal to a sooner if I see them. And it doesn't.
Well, isn't this nonsense also unique to us? Because horns up is just uniquely perfect for you. Because it's like most schools don't actually have a good hand signal like that, right?
I mean, there's a lot of schools that have them. Like Sickum Bears. Like that's pretty fair. But like it's hard to do. I don't know what's a ridiculous standard.
Sorry, that got my brain back on the tangent of why didn't we kick Baylor out of the conference over their sexual misconduct scandal? But
but yeah, I mean it's going a little bit too far with that. We're not very sensitive about it. I personally am not sensitive about it. Sean, I don't use the word sooner in my household because I think it's a derogatory term.
Well,
but I mean,
oh God, well, I remember what they put in the NCAA. I can't remember which one it was, but yes, the original
video game.
Yeah, when they had the written paragraph about our mascot. And yes, the original terminology is from the land runs, the Sooners that cheated in the land runs to get pieces of Oklahoma land.
Yeah, you guys are cheaters.
But the term has evolved over the years to mean an individual that is ahead of the curve. So I am a Sooner for being well prepared for this podcast.
That's cheater, derogatory term. I don't use the word sooner at all. Not even when it's like to be early or faster or quicker. I just leave that word out completely from my vocabulary.
Oh wow!
All right, well, I just don't see a reason to be mad about it. Me as a Longhorn fan, if you see a horns down, it's just words. Get over it. But yeah, if you're gonna be using it while you're standing over another player, then
that's. My point was that horns down's not the problem in that scenario. It is legit taunting that's going to start a fight.
It should be thought of as a total circumstances. If like complete circumstances, whatever the scene is, if they use horns down as like a cherry on top for being overly aggressive and uncalled for, then I see that. But if you're just doing it just because like you're in front of the camera, you want to look cool, then don't give that.
Which it's I'm trying to remember how the guy on the Locked On Sooners podcast put it, but I think he was essentially saying he thought that if we did it while we were celebrating our own touchdown with our own fans or something, that it wouldn't get called. But if we did it directly at your fans or at your players, that's when it would actually be more likely to be a penalty. But
I go back to just the simple fact of everybody wishes they could be us, and
why?
Everybody just wants a little piece of it. Like, get your own sign, man.
Hey, I am perfectly happy with my 7 national championships. Thank you very much. I am perfectly happy.
All right. So what else we got for today?
Alrighty. Well, let's. Whew, we really dived in there with just rivalry talk. Let's. We were supposed to skip back, come back on. Well, let me finish the anecdote on Back to the Future a little bit. I think. Did we completely finish that off?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Sean. So, what does this rivalry mean to you?
Okay, yeah, that's where we were going next. Well, oh my gosh, it's.
No, speak from the heart, Sean.
I know. I'm just making sure. I had my notes all planned because I've been trying to parse my words together on this topic for weeks since we've been preparing this.
Okay.
And
let me start this over.
Okay.
Okay, Sean. What does this rivalry mean to you?
It is the most intense rivalry game of the year, regardless of sport. I mean, I hate it when we lose a USA-Mexico game in soccer.
Uh-huh.
That is as close to this as anything comes for me in other sports.
So you're saying this isn't just like the biggest rivalry that happens in the Cotton Bowl during the Texas State Fair every fall. This is more than that. This is something that transcends sports, that transcends any kind of cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, this is the rivalry that the bragging rights feel life or death, and that's where I was going to pull back and
it's kind of like life or death, like the King of the Hill meme. You know?
Well,
what does Bobby say? Is it normal that I feel like dying or something like that?
I actually haven't really ever watched King of the Hill. I was a sheltered child, so my wife just barely got me into Family Guy when we got married. So,
all right. What about you? Really, like personal, like family attachments? This rivalry have for you?
It's really intense. But I was trying to. When I was first getting ready for this, I was trying to pull myself back and think, okay, what's going to give me some proper perspective here? And I always keep We Are Marshall on my DVR because it's, well, for one, it's a college football movie, but for two, it's just such an emotional movie. It's a movie you can't watch without crying. For those that are unaware, Marshall's football team in 1970 is one of the biggest sporting tragedies in history, just like your Munich air disaster for my Manchester United, or Hillsborough for Liverpool, or Port Chaponese, I hope I said that close to right, from a few years ago. It's one of the most tragic sports tragedies of all time. They were coming back from having lost to East Carolina, and their plane crashed in 1970. What? Don't worry about it. But yeah, they. But anyways, my point was that I was trying to pull myself back and realize, okay, the bragging rights of this rivalry might feel life and death, but there are things very much worse than just losing the game. There are things way more important in life. So I was trying to pull myself back and come at this from a healthier perspective, a better perspective. But that is really hard to do with this rivalry. And I'm also one of the most spoiled Sooner fans of all time, because the very first year I was paying attention as a little grade school kid happened to be 2000. Literally, the year our rivalry, the year everything fell in perfect for us. The only national championship of my lifetime so far just happened to fall in the year I was very first paying attention. What are the odds, right? 63-14. Never seen such a good shot of the Cotton Bowl. Our favorite shot of the Cotton Bowl. With, the Texas side completely empty by the mid-third quarter, but just taking a sip of water here. But it's, oh gosh, part of what amps up the rivalry for me is just what's happened in my personal life, because we won 5 straight, 2000 through 2004, and then 2005, man. I mean, come on. That national championship game that you and every neutral celebrates like it's the greatest game ever. Oh! Because I didn't even get the benefit of getting to root against you. Because you know what would have happened if USC had won that game? Their 2006 team would have won enough games the next year. I know I looked this up. The point is that our all-time record for most consecutive wins was on the line because of how good that USC team was. So you actually saved the legacy of my Sooner teams from the 50s, because otherwise USC was going to overtake that record.
Well, you also have to look at it this way. USC was caught cheating. Reggie Bush had his Heisman Trophy taken away from him because he was accepting payments from boosters, and so they would probably have put an asterisk by that record.
I know, but asterisks in college football have always struck me weird. Like, trying to decide that, okay, you cheated so bad that these wins don't count, but these other games that we don't know anything else about, they're okay. Like, I mean, I get the. Oh God!
I know what you're saying. It's like pre-live ball era baseball.
Yeah, this is very. Why the hell is Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I mean, you could also make a big. You can make an argument saying that college sports before schools were integrated.
Oh God.
It doesn't count. I mean, same thing with baseball before the players are integrated too.
Yeah,
you just have to. There's some things that I think you just have to take them how they are.
Yeah, and on that point, I am proud of my Sooners and Packers for being 2 of the teams to most quickly integrate in that era, and I think that's part of why they were, good at winning. But I don't know. I can't be too proud of that though, because their motives were to win. I'm sure. So
no. Even if the motives were to win, if you're leaving out a big portion of your population, then of course you're going to be missing out on a lot of talent.
So yeah, I actually do have a good anecdote about 2005 as well, because this whole vomit clusterfuck of that night, with not even being able to root against Texas, because, like I said, the 2006 USC team, hindsight being 2020, would have won enough games to steal our record, and we knew going in that was most likely going to happen, right? Because the Pac-10 at that time was USC's and USC's alone. And, okay, so my football coach in junior high, because that's the age we were, it was I want to say was it 7th or 8th grade? It was one of the two, but in any case, strength and conditioning, first hour that day. And my football coach literally played for Stillwater. He was a linebacker for Stillwater in the same era as Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas. And so he comes in and he says, "Anybody rooting for Texas tonight, you have to do 50 push-ups." And my technicality for not doing the push-ups was, I'm not rooting for Texas. I'm rooting against USC taking our record.
Well, that's hilarious.
Oh God!
Did you do the 50? Did you do the 50 push-ups? No, right?
No, that was my technicality for getting out of them, because I'm not rooting for you. I'm rooting against USC.
Well, how did your football coach feel about that?
Well, I didn't explain myself. The idiots that were rooting for Texas just started doing the push-ups, and the rest of us just stayed up standing. And for context, I'm from the Oklahoma Panhandle, so in some ways it's kind of disputed territory, because it actually used to belong to y'all before the Civil War. That's why all your colleges give Colorado border state tuition. So we actually do have a healthy amount of Longhorn fans in the Oklahoma Panhandle, oddly enough.
Yeah, same thing with the Texas Panhandle. It's really It's weird.
Yeah.
Try not to go around there.
Yeah, it is one of the most satisfying things in the world to go in the Cracker Barrel here in Amarillo and see that there's a Texas Tech section and there's an Oklahoma section, and we're in Texas.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that gets my goat. It amps up the pressure on the bragging rights just from having to live here and with my current career. If nothing changes, I'm going to be stuck living here the majority of my life. So I'm like, I kind of feel like Moses denied the promised land, man. Not. I'm living here. The way my college search ended, I didn't get the 4 years at OU that felt like I was kind of prophesized to have, because I'm a son of a OU graduate, and my dad, and my mom graduated from Panhandle State and then did graduate work at OU. That's how they met. So
yeah.
So it's like me not getting those 4 years at OU, or not even ending up trying to take my academic career to OU. That it feels like a freaking variant, man. Like they should have pruned me from the timeline. Why am I still here, TVA? I was supposed to be at OU.
So I understand how you feel. A lot of people that are Texas fans also go through the same thing.
Because Texas is so hard to afford.
Well, no, it's not that, because Texas, you have like the top 10% or 5% rule now, where you can get in as long as your parents make under a certain amount of money. It's free tuition now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was one of the things. Is that
I wish that would have been something that was around when I was going to school. Instead, I owe a bunch of money to Texas. And
right. Yeah, that was actually one of the things for me too. My parents made just barely too much money for us to get government assistance. So
yeah, man. But still, there's a reason why Texas is the number one grossing college entity.
It's Dallas Cowboys syndrome on the college level. It's just y'all take the Texas swagger that makes your state so great, and y'all are the ones that run with it the farthest.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say when on the NFL level, because the other team is technically called the Houston Texans, but it's still kind of true with the Dallas Cowboys too.
The reason I'm not really one of those fans that got in because of the hype. I grew up in Dallas, and I understood the Red River Rivalry, Red River Shootout.
Well, they keep changing the name for sponsorship reasons. So
I remember it back in the day because it was just a different feeling in Dallas. That's where the game's located, and you could just feel it in the air that it was something completely different.
Yeah, it is a bizarrely perfect neutral site in that.
It's perfectly halfway. It's 3 hours from Austin, 3 hours from
it's like that. It drives me nuts that we have to play the game in Texas because of the geography, and then y'all's counter argument is always, well, you're technically 10 miles closer.
Yeah, and so. For me, it was just something that I grew up with. I didn't even remember, like, a certain point when I was like, yeah, I'm a Texas fan, because it was just indoctrinated in me, like, from the time I was born. And so, I went to Texas because that's the one school I applied to, and that's the one school that I went to. And when I was there, I had a lot of friends that wanted to go to football games, and we painted our chest, and we went to every single football game, basketball game, baseball game, soccer game. I love being
just as a quick tangent, because does Texas have a men's soccer team, or is it just women's?
No, it was a women's soccer team, just like
okay, just like how the women's soccer team is the football's Title IX counterpart, basically.
Yeah. And it was really enjoyable, and I loved going to see the sports. I went to a lot of away games, which was now I can't do that now. Yeah, I wish I could spend my weekend traveling to watch football.
To rub a little bit more salt in the wound gently, I remember us having the discussion a few weeks ago about you having been at the game when Texas lost in Lawrence to Kansas in football.
Yeah, that. But I was also there when Texas won the last Texas A&M game.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were at the very last Texas A&M game.
Yeah, and then
Hashtag go play your Stillwater. Hashtag go play your Stillwater.
oh no, I was there when we beat Stillwater, and I think it was like 2014.
If there are any Oklahoma State fans that haven't already tuned us out already, I always refer to you as Stillwater just because there is only one Oklahoma. I know. I'm painting a bad picture of myself taking it this far in this context, but I just can't make myself say Oklahoma State very voluntarily. It's just.
And then one of my favorite memories too was we were losing really bad at Kansas State, and everybody knows that Kansas State has Texas's number in Snyder Field. It's just one of those things that we have a losing record over there, and it's just the atmosphere that kills us every time.
Well, Snyder was really good because he had our number for a little while too. Because I remember 2003, we lost the Big 12 title game right before we had to go play the LSU Sugar Bowl, and it was like I want to say they beat us in another Big 12 title game somewhere in that era. It was like the Snyder teams were a lot better than the rest of the country gives them credit for. That's for sure.
Well, we were losing really bad, and the fog was rolling into the stadium, and it had to be like 30 degrees outside. I was freezing my nips off, and the Wildcats just kept bringing up the score, and their mascot got on top of the announcer booth. Like if you've ever seen Snyder Stadium, it's this little high school type of football field.
You said that about both Kansas stadiums, actually.
Yeah. Kansas Stadium is really crappy. Go to DKR. You'll find something better.
It's like if they actually were legitimate great in and out programs, they'd have to play at Arrowhead for a while they improve their stadiums.
But you could see the mascot doing KSU, and it's one of those memories that's been ingrained in my mind that it's like, heck yeah. I mean, college football is just really great, and it creates these kind of memories, and it's just a feeling that you get.
It's kind of there's almost no other feeling like it. It's like for the rest of the world, it's almost like describing soccer in some ways because it's very community oriented in that you have to root where you're from almost in a way. It's like, well, I mean, the school aspect changes those connections a bit, but it's like if you're from Burnley and you decide you want to root for Manchester United, that's no bueno. You're a plastic. You have to root for Burnley, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm lucky. I live in America. My dad happened to choose Manchester United in the 90s.
Yeah, and it just the same thing with this rivalry. You wherever you're born, you're gonna end up hating the other person.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're unlikely to be born in one of the Panhandle counties, either in Oklahoma or Texas, then you're gonna have some weird influences on your life.
Right. Well, the Oklahoma Panhandle earns its nickname of No Man's Land pretty easily. I mean, the town I grew up of, Guyman, is the only Walmart town in that entire area.
Yeah. Well, I think that's gonna be a good spot to end it here for this podcast. Tune in for our second show. We're gonna be uploading pretty irregularly. We both have weird schedules, so you'll hear us when you hear us. Any last words, Sean?
I'm debating whether or not to include this anecdote or not, but it's kind of a good cherry on top, so I'll go ahead. This rivalry even changed my personal life in that one of the girls I most liked in junior high and high school, not even her, but her fraternal twin sister during your 2005 Vince Young era was a Texas fan. So even though that faded over time, I just couldn't get over it. I'm like, I can't risk dating the other side of the rivalry. So it's like, that's one of those things. It's not really a rivalry if you'll marry into it, in my opinion. If you feel like you can live with the other person, it's not really a rivalry.
Definitely would have never married her sooner. That's gross. Alright, well, we'll see you later.
Well, the worst part is that she must have family that roots for both sides or something, because now they both are proper Sooner fans.
Gross. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.